All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Beyond the Frame, also to our webinar today entitled Driving Families Back to Bowling. My name is Nephew, and I'll be one of your presenters today. With me, I have the adorable Dottie San Martin. Hi, Dottie.
Hey, thanks, Jay.
Thank you for joining us, Dottie. Today, you and I put together some really good content for today, and it's all around getting those family and kids demographic back into the building and back feeling comfortable with your business. I got a couple of opening comments that I want to make, with traveling around in bowling tournaments like I get to do in my neck of the woods. I've seen the same trend hold true here in the South and Texas area. The dollars, the segment of the population that's coming in to drive the revenue in the bowling center has been very traditional based, either league or tournament or some type of competitive player for the most part. And we've seen that, we've seen hints of that across the country being the same way. So for whatever reason, families aren't the first ones to come back. And we assume it's probably because they, have younger kids and they need to feel safe with the environment and comfortable with the available protections that may be out there for you. And because that varies so widely from not only city to city and state to state and county to county, but from center to center, it's no wonder why this audience probably hasn't been the first one back, right, Dottie?
That's right.
So we're going to give you guys 7 ways here to drive this audience back into your center. And you may already be knowledgeable about some of these attacks that we're going to go to, but I want you to pay close attention because we're going to take each one of these maybe down a couple of different roads that you might not have thought about before. So I'm going to start it off, our content off right here. When we talk, oh no, actually, you know what, Dottie, you're going to start our content off. I apologize. I've already spoken too much. Dottie, start us off, Dottie.
Okay, well, thank you very much and welcome again to our webinar this afternoon. One of the things that we want to do when we're trying to attract kids and families back into our center is make sure that we're providing a facility that actually has a reputation of being for kids and families. And there's a lot of things that go into a reputation. First and foremost, when we're talking with kids and families, we want to make sure that our facility is clean and it's convenient. And, there's a lot of things that go into a reputation. One of the, we want to make sure that we have the latest and greatest technology. Of course, when it comes to kids and families, parents want to, provide an experience to their kids that's the latest and the greatest, that only the best for my kids. So you want to make sure that your equipment, your technology is, state of the art and that you're offering a great experience for those kids and families. The other thing that goes into a reputation is what happens while they're there. What is that experience and what are those families leaving your center with? And that can be word of mouth with their neighbor. It can be going to your social media and talking about what a great experience they've had. It can be them tweeting something or posting pictures on Instagram. Those are all things that go into your reputation. That is if they're posting good stuff about you. We want our good reputation to attract the families. But keep in mind, it can also go the other way. So what happens once you get those families in there can actually draw more families in by that stellar reputation that you're going to provide once they're in there. Jay, before we get too far into this, tell our viewers about a poll that we're going to launch to get a little bit more information about them.
Yeah, so we'd like to find out, if you're watching right now, Kyle's going to put up, Kyle Falco, by the way, I forgot to introduce Kyle, I apologize. Kyle's on the back and he's our webinar master. He keeps it all together back there for us. The Scotch tape, the running squirrels on the treadmill, all that, that's Kyle. So we've got a poll. We'd love to find out if you're open with no restrictions, if you have 50% or more capacity restrictions or 50% or less capacity restrictions, or you're still awaiting your reopening. So if you could just quickly answer that poll for us, that'd be great. We'll come back and we'll review some of this, some of the poll data in just a little bit. Dottie, when you talked about that reputation, provide a facility with a reputation that's attractive. You talked about, your engagement with the customer. You talked about having a clean and convenient facility and using your technology to your advantage. Maybe you need to tell people that you have touchless scoring now, that they don't need to be involved in that process if they don't want to. So, or touchless payment options, whatever it may be, that's going to comfort that group. So yeah, that's absolutely true. We do want a reputation that is as attractive as your facility is, right?
And Jay, one thing that goes into that today with the pandemic going on is that you do want to have that reputation of being, clean and safe. So that all goes into it, and especially right now.
And things that you do outside of your normal business also build your reputation. Getting involved in community goodwill programs. We've seen a lot of that happen while the pandemic was on. We had people step up and offer their business, offer their food, offer their parking lot, whatever it may be they could do to help their community. You can do that year round, and you should be doing that year round. It's good for your business. It's good for your community. And let's be honest, whenever we help someone out, don't you always feel good about it in the long run? I know I like to. It's selfish of me to want to feel good about that, but I like making people happy. I like providing something for them that is really no problem for me. So you can imagine how they feel if you're the business that comes to bat for them. I think they're going to reward you. Most of these new demographics like millennials and Alpha Gen, they really, really get behind businesses that are good for their community.
Absolutely. When you can support their cause, that goes a long ways for them.
For sure, for sure. So another point number 2 I want to make is when you're going to try to attract families and children back to the bowling center, you really need to plan. Plan is the number one thing past your reputation that you should be doing. I think the reputation precedes itself. Planning is right there. Grab a calendar. Start looking at those holidays. Use Halloween, Thanksgiving, spring break, Christmas, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Flag Day, Hot Dog Day. Pick something and use it to plan an event or an outing around that day. Now it's easy with the mains, the Halloweens, the Christmases, the holiday part, all that's easy, but because they're given, right? But what we've seen is a lot of clever operators are taking random days like National Snow Cone Day, and they'll wheel in a snow cone machine and give free snow cones to everybody who's bowling, whatever. I mean, this is just a made up thing, right? But imagine that you're using that to promote driving people in, you're having fun with it, you're offering an environment and an activity or experience that they're not going to normally get. So use your holidays, use your birthdays, and use school events. That's key, whether it be spring break or winter vacation. But what about grading period? What about band and sports teams? There's a lot of other ways that you can attack the calendar when you look at it from that point of view.
And Jay, the other thing I was going to mention, when you're talking about unique holidays, those are readily available. Just Google it and you'll find all these, for example, National Chocolate Milk Day is coming up, so you could have some fun with that. And National Smile Day is, I think, next week. So, you can really look at some of these unique holidays that are coming up and put some fun little programs together that is going to be attractive for the families that are looking for an outing.
For sure, for sure. So that's the first 2, Dottie. This next one is really important, and you kind of touched on it in the first point, but we're going to dive a little deeper into it. So why don't you take it home from here?
Yes, thank you, Jay. It is it's been proven that 80% of the decisions are made by moms on the spending of money. So, she is the one that's guiding where we go and what we do. And of course, we all know that children can really put pressure on a parent to go do a certain thing, but we need to be mindful going forward that we need to appeal to the moms. We want, obviously, we want our facility to be nice and clean. They're looking for convenience. Is it easy for me to come in, or is it easy for me to book lanes to go in? They're limited on time most often. They're taking care of young children. They want that experience both before they get to our center and while they're in our center to be absolutely as convenient as they can possibly make it. The other thing is today's families are often multi-generational families.
Right.
multiple siblings. They have, mom and dad, and often even grandparents or other elderly relatives that they're taking care of. And it's very important for the decision makers to find a venue and find an attraction that can be enjoyed by everyone, not just the children, while the elderly sit and watch. And so make sure that when you're putting packages together that you're mindful of that. And you're putting programs together that's going to be fun for everybody, not just the kids and not just the parents. And another factor that goes into that is making sure that your facility has things in place that are attractive. Make sure that the restrooms are clearly marked. Make sure that you've got the appropriate music playing if you're playing music in your facility. All of those things are things that are important to moms. Yeah. And we need to be mindful of that. The other thing is, as we are, starting to see multi-generations come in, also be mindful of some of the challenges the elderly or the special needs might have that we can make sure that we're accommodating. And that's even something as simple as, making sure your furniture is evenly spaced out so that there's room for chairs and stuff to get down into the bowling area. So
or having the ball ramps readily accessible.
Yes, have them, easily accessible.
Or let them know they can ask for one, because some places hide them, which makes sense because they don't look so nice laying out on the lanes. But if you need a ball ramp, let us know. We'd be happy to bring you one. That's providing the right kind of customer service. That's providing the right mindset to a concerned mom, or a mom who's already tasked with, I've got 3 little kids and I've got Grandpa Joe over there, and you're anticipating their needs, and that's huge to moms.
You're right. And Jay, I mean, that having a diverse offering is something that, yes, we're talking about kids and families on today's webinar, but that's something we want to make sure that the offerings that we're providing in our centers do have wide appeal. We want to make sure bowling is something that everybody can do. So we want to make sure that we do have a good selection of programs, something to tap into everybody's taste. So I think not just for kids and families, but just in general is a good practice.
And don't be afraid to use some of that marketing lingo when you put your flyers or your promotions together on social media. Family friendly, family fun, ability to host multiple generations, whatever it may be, how you want to say that, to let them know, because they may not be thinking that. So don't be afraid to toot your own horn when it comes to that. Speaking of tooting your own horn, the chat is open, by the way, people. So if you want to raise your hand and ask a question, you certainly can do so at any time. This is a free flow thing that we do here. We've got our points we want to make, but we also want to hear from you. So the chat is wide open. If you'd like to turn your camera on and be on screen and raise your hand to ask a question, we can do that too. It's no big deal. So feel free. You're part of the family now. You're in the group here. We're going to move on, though, with our 4th point that we want to make. Dottie, are you done with your appealing to moms? I believe you've ticked all the boxes, right?
I am.
Okay, so my next one, number 4, is I think you really need to leverage the guests that you already have that are attending maybe other events with bounce back coupons that drive the families back in. What does that mean? Well, we're hosting corporate events, maybe not at the level we were hosting. We're hosting smaller groups of get-togethers of 5, 10, 15, 20 people. That's fine. You have birthday parties that are still happening. I've seen them happen here in Texas, at least. Sunday we had one go walk through the bowl. That was nice to see. It kind of reminded me about, they're coming back. And then you do things like fundraisers or high open play traffic times when you've got a full house. Use bounce back coupons to drive people back, not just the customer you just had, but make sure it's valuable to a family or to children, and make it available only at a certain time. For example, maybe you've got a family night that's on, a Tuesday and a Thursday and a Sunday morning. That's when this coupon's good. You can put any restrictions you want on there. Try to keep them as minimal as possible so that there's, less barrier to use. But if your goal is to drive families, children in, make them come to those time frames. That's perfectly fine. Dottie,
yes, absolutely, I do. Remember when you are, if you have a company party come into your facility and you are providing, I like to call them thank you vouchers, for a bounce back for the guests that are coming in. Be sure to note that when you're writing your proposal, when you're putting in your proposal to have the event, because many times, you know, customers are trying to compare multiple quotes, and there is a true value to these bounce back coupons, and they should be noted on the proposal. Of course, the you know, retail value of them is not carried over, it's a zero amount, but nonetheless there is true value to those, and sometimes that can be the deciding factor between whether or not you get an event. The other thing I want to mention is, you know, if you're going to be doing that, also utilize the data that you're getting from it. So if you're going to have a bounce back for a fundraiser, make sure you know where that's going and you're tracking those coupons, so you can kind of get some data from those coupons as well. So bounce back coupons, if leveraged the proper way, can be great for your center.
I want to tell you, Bowlmore does an amazing job with this. When you look at the billboards I see across town for Bowlmore centers, it says party headquarters or holiday party extravaganza. All guests receive a free $10 or $20 gift card to attend. I mean, they're putting a dollar value right on that card. Now, they have the ability to, because they own all their own games and they're using it as a swipe deal, but you may have that same ability in your facility. If it's not with games, it might be a gift card for bowling only. You can make this whatever you want it to be, and you can package it so it's as attractive as you want. But don't forget that these are valuable. And like Dottie says, if you're not including the value of that coupon in your proposal to a possible holiday party or a birthday get-together for someone, say, I'm going to give you, with 20 guests, I'm going to give you an additional, you know, $200 worth of cards that you can hand out to your guests. That's huge, right? You need to let people know and make sure it's a part of the value.
You know, Jay, I also want to mention, if you're going to be actually giving them a physical coupon or voucher, keep in mind, you're putting something in their hand that can also be used as a way to advertise. So, for example, if you have Mad Games, if you have Hyper Bowling, make sure that you mention that that coupon can be used for one of the new Mad Games or our all new Hyper Bowling. And then that way, that coupon has, you know, a secondary value to you.
And, you know, maybe you're having trouble getting conversion with Mad Games because the people are so used to bowling by the game and less by time. Maybe you make these bounce backs 15-minute time blocks and they can have as many people as they want. You know, it's no big deal. You're going to give that lane away for 15 minutes. Oh, and by the way, you might only give it away with a lane option set that includes only Hyper Bowling and Mad Games, just to show them that that's the freebie right there. You want to do traditional bowling, no problem, you can do that, but I'm giving you free Mad Games and Hyper Bowling for 15 minutes. And if there's 4 of you and you each want to use your coupon, you can all 4 be on the lane for an hour. Still got to rent shoes, still going to buy sodas. You see how this works, right? We all know the value of a coupon, so you can make it even more valuable and more attractive, this bounce back that we're talking about, by thinking about your business model and what do you want to get from this back? Do you just want the revenue? Are you trying to build different engagement? Are you letting people know that you have these brand new fun games that are also so great that they might not have seen them yet? So think about that differently. We're going to encourage you to do that. I think it's time for another poll, don't you?
I do.
Okay, so I want to ask you, since we're talking about the family business right now, is your family open play business up, about even, or down from last year at this time? What would you say? Now, surprisingly, I'm assuming a lot of people are going to say down, which, you know, the votes are coming in. But I have actually seen centers, or heard from centers, that their open play family business is even to last year because people were so excited to get out. Kudos to them for whatever they've been doing. But as you can see, everybody here says they're down. So it's not a shock. I would assume that was the number going to be. One of the ways you can drive that number back up, we talked about four different points to make. And here's another one for you. You need to develop relationships outside of your building, right? This is about the same thing as community outreach. But I think you should develop relationships with organizations that already have children that have activity needs. For example, are you the first thing a daycare center in your area thinks to call when they have to have an activity? Do you have a program for them that is simple to explain in 10 seconds on the phone and gives a value to them? If not, develop one. Fundraising opportunities for things like a band or a football or basketball or baseball team or scouting. They're always selling candy bars or bags of cookie dough. I don't know. There's so many things. I buy this stuff all the time. But why can't they sell bowling? They sell gift certificates to restaurants and other crazy things that aren't tangible. Get them selling bowling for you. Tell them you're going to get 50% of the revenue or whatever it is you feel you can give away. That's going to motivate some clubs right there. Not only will it motivate them, but it's going to build this relationship with them that they're going to think of you every time they want to raise funds or have a good time. That's where you want to be.
You know, Jay, another thing that falls into that category is, and I'm sure a lot of the people viewing are scratching their head, you know, a lot of schools are online only right now. So there goes our field trips. But Jay and I were actually chatting offline earlier today, and I had this wacky concept of field trips, which we were discussing, which we do quite often. But even to have your field trips with a virtual only option where you can sell an hour block and do some really creative things. We have some versions of this in our virtual marketing manager program that we deliver, but to have a field trip program where you could actually take the kids behind the scenes and let them see how a machine works and how the oil machine works and you know, the ins and outs, what happens once the ball gets, you know, where I can't see it, things along those lines. That makes a great field trip program. You can still provide the bounce backs for them to come back in, you know, once they feel comfortable to come back in. And it offers something that's unique that you're doing that nobody else is doing.
And if you're really clever and you do this right, or you can just reach out to us because we'll do it with you and for you. You can make this a STEM opportunity. STEM is the hottest thing in education. Obviously, it's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Those are the 4 parts of STEM that we encourage all young children and all children to be a part of. That's where the future is, right? So how does a bowling center, what does that have to do with STEM? Has everything to do with STEM. You have such a resource in front of you that can educate the kids about science, about technology, about engineering, and about mathematics at all levels. I don't care if they're 4 years old, you can teach them STEM. If they're 18 years old, there's stuff to learn there about STEM. From the technology and from the engineering standpoint, genius, right? If you want us to help you work with you on that, we've got a program. We will come in and we'll help you execute that STEM program, and you're going to be the talk of the town. But don't forget, use that virtual opportunity to have a field trip. They don't have to come to your business. They just got to be in front of the screen and be able to watch and see and learn, and you can make that happen.
And Jay, the other thing that we want to make sure, you know, first of all, the silver lining that I've seen so far in this horrible pandemic is that people are being a lot more creative than they've ever been in the past. And one of the things when we're talking about, you know, bringing in kids and families is with birthday parties. You know, take a look at your birthday party program. What do you need to do to that program to really make it more attractive for people today? You know, with there being some insecurities and not really knowing about having, you know, a large crowd. So offer a virtual option for those people that don't want to participate. I'm not saying offer it for free. I'm saying work it into your package to where you have a virtual add-on option. And, you know, the children that are attending virtually would still get their bounce back to come back in when they're comfortable doing so. And that's an option that really should be something that you keep in place even afterwards. And, you know, as a military person for many, many years, one of the downsides of being in the military is to always go through those memorable milestones away from family. So if you can put a program together now sparked by the pandemic that we're in, that has a virtual option, keep in mind, even though we come out of this pandemic and things go back to whatever this new norm is going to be, consider keeping that as an option, because there are a lot of people that are displaced from their families that would love to have that and would gladly pay that add-on option to be able to have that as an option for their loved ones around the world. So
for sure. You know, Dottie, it looks like you're kind of going into your next point with this birthday add-on option, because it fits right into your next point that you're going to make. And so I'll let you go right into that.
yes, it does. But, you know, Jay, as we are, my favorite part of being in a center is to actually put these programs together. And especially today, when we're trying to attract kids and families, we want to put programs together specifically for that demographic. Just like we want to put specific programs together that attract our competitive bowlers and our companies, we want to have the same thing in place for our programs for kids and families. So we want to make sure that we're doing things that are very attractive to them. Going back to the first point that Jay made about calendars and taking a look at the calendar and finding out what's on there, you know, that's coming up that we can leverage, this is a perfect time to talk about that. You know, we have Halloween coming up, and there are so many opportunities for you to leverage Halloween to bring in new kids and families that have never been in your center before. If you
I think Halloween is like the #1 family-friendly holiday, right? Like,
yes,
that's the thing that if you think family-friendly, Halloween comes to mind out of all the other holidays.
yes,
Maybe
absolutely. And there's so many things that you can do. You know, built around the scoring system that you have, you can pull out features such as Halloween Environment or Monster Factory, for example, and run a Match My Monster contest. You know, there's so many things that you can pull out from your scoring system, and you know, set a certain day of the week aside. But to have family-friendly packages and have them at a convenient time for families, include food, give mom the night off, or, you know, give the cook a night off, and create packages with, we all know that kids love pizza. So that appeals to mom, that appeals to the kids. So as you're putting things together, you know, maybe you want to have a family-friendly Rockin' Bowl or Glow Bowl or Cosmic Bowl or whatever you call it at your center. That makes families feel that they're included in what's going on at your center, because you've made a designated time that's convenient for families to offer that program. If you are in the market for something for Halloween, if you really haven't thought about it and you've kind of discounted it because, you know, COVID has got so many restrictions, think again. And we can even get you started with that. This past week, we did a blog post, and we have reposted that on Beyond the Frame. And it's full of ways that you can actually have an event at your center. Many different things that you can think about. And of course, you know, make sure you're adhering to the guidelines in your community and the state to make sure that you're compliant. But certainly there are multiple ways that you can allow children to still experience that thrill of Halloween and bring them to your center. So check that out. It's on Beyond the Frame. If you're a member of Best Extras blog, it is also on the blog. So make sure that you check it out.
Does that mean they all have to build the candy tube that, you know, they?
Yes, my famous candy chute. Yes.
I love that. It's
yes,
so
you
awesome.
can just send it down the PVC pipe, put them in little bags, and send it down the chute. And, you know, it actually is fun for the person on the other end, because you have to guide it. You have to tell them, oh, to the left, you know, here comes your candy, get ready.
Put
So
your
it's a lot of
below.
fun. Yeah, or hang your candy bags from a clothesline if you're going to do the trunk or treat. Lots of different things.
Idea.
Make sure you go to that blog post and check it out. And again, when it comes to building packages and putting programs together for kids and families, think outside the box. And I know, you know, that's a phrase that's so overused right now, but don't think of traditionally how you've done it in the past. Try something new, and you're not ever going to know until you try it. There is no
this is your chance to try something brand new because nobody's
Yes.
expecting anything, right? So whatever you put out there is going to be, this is like a free roll. If you had some kind of game and somebody said, here's a free roll, what are you going to say? Oh, I don't need it. I'm losing. I can't win. No, you roll the dice and you move your man for free. It's free, right? So this is a free chance for you to try something new. You know, Dottie, when you were saying, you know, about family-friendly programs and times and think outside the box, yes, that's true. You do need to do that. But you also need to think within your building. You hinted before that when you have these family-friendly programs and you're offering them at these certain times, you really need to make sure your facilities also family friendly at that time. What does that mean from an experience point of view? Well, maybe the music isn't quite the pop music that we always play with some questionable lyrics. Maybe we have to go to a family friendly channel. Doesn't mean it can't be fun music, but it's just got to be the right music for a family, you know? So think about those types of things. On the other hand, this brings me to my last point, which is why I hijacked your point, sorry. You really should be thinking about your employee usage and expectations of those employees. Hear me out. I know we train people. I know we have people that work all the time. We have some wonderful people at our facilities. Really, really do. And I've been guilty of this in the past. I've known this and I've worked around it. I got a bartender. She's amazing with this men's league because she gives them it right back. They come at her and she snaps back and they love her and she's the, you know, she knows their orders. She's not the right person to work on a Sunday morning with families. She just doesn't enjoy kids. She's kind of grumpy, but not for that crowd. So what did I do? I had to find somebody who was the right person to work with families and children. We all have these people in our bowling centers. Don't assume that because they can run a register or cook a burger that they're the right people for that time frame. And I don't mean to tell you how to run your business, but this is something that drives families literally out the door sometimes. They'll get a hold of a bad experience with one employee who doesn't value them the same way a person who's like, oh, these are kids and a mom, I get it. And that will drive them off. There goes your reputation because they're probably going to tell somebody about it. So think logically when you staff for these events and these time frames. Get the right mix of employees that can handle your families, but more importantly, set the expectations with them. Tell those employees, by the way, we are having this family time right here. I know you're an amazing bartender, Gina, Sheila, whatever your name is. I forgot your name. But listen, it's not Tuesday night and it's not the men's league. So I'm going to need you to really tone that part of it down and bring up the other side because you have it in you, but just keep that in mind. These are some nuanced coaching things you may have to talk about and you're going to have to word them carefully because of laws and lawyers and things, but it can be done and it should be done. If you don't set proper expectations with your employees and you don't help them be successful, the likelihood of them being successful is less. So put yourself in that winner's circle ahead of time.
And you know, I want to also say it can also be not just what they're saying, but it can be how they're saying it. It
Yeah,
can be
absolutely.
facial expression, and you know, not just toward the adults. Something that we need to be mindful of when we're trying to bring in kids and families. First of all, a child is a parent's most valuable possession or their most valuable thing, period. And they want that child to be respected. They want that child to have the best. And so when you are dealing with kids and families, be mindful of how your employee is dealing with the child. For example, if you have a birthday party hostess that's in charge of Susie's birthday party, when they're talking to those children, bend down and speak eye to eye with the child. Don't talk down to the child. That makes a huge difference. The child appreciates that, but more so the parent appreciates the time that you are making their child feel special. And the one thing that we do know is when a parent feels that their child has been disrespected or is not being taken seriously when they go up to the front desk to ask a question, that is a huge turnoff. And it's something that's so easy to avoid.
Yeah, it's really easy. You know, Dottie, if you haven't watched our Seeds of Success video yet, we've launched one. We've got a whole series of these little short 10-minute videos that will make you think differently about certain things. And one of the things we're going to post in the near future, we've already recorded it, is nonverbal communication. And when Dottie was explaining how, you know, getting eye to eye with that child, that's part of nonverbal, right? That's really the body language that says, look, I'm respecting you. And the parents see that, and it changes their perspective of you as an employee and this business as a business. It really does. So,
and I'll say, Jay, you know, that's where you can get the quickest social media comment is if you have been rude or disrespectful to someone's child, they're going to be really quick to make sure that they're giving you some negative user-generated content.
Yeah, we don't want that. We don't want that. All right. Do we have any questions today? I'd love to hear from our audience. Anybody have any personal challenges that they're facing, or do you have some ideas that we may not have thought about here today that have worked really well for you? Feel free to type in the comment box, or if you'd like to talk with us, put your camera on and raise your hand. We'd love to chat with you. Jody, I see you've been watching very intently. She's smiling under her mask. What center are you from? Do you want to come on camera and talk with us? There she is.
Hi.
Hi. What center are you at, Jody?
Thunderhead Bowl and Grill in Tawnytown, Maryland.
Oh, very nice. Nice to have you. Have you noticed you've noticed a downtrend in your family open play business also, I'm assuming?
Yes, yes.
And is there any particular program that helped you to bring some of those numbers up?
Right now, it's really kind of hard. Our biggest issue is with the masks. They have to wear the mask when they bowl, and we can only use every other lane. So once that went into effect about a month and a half ago, we actually lost some of the bowlers that we had coming in for open play because they did not want to wear the masks.
Sure, sure. Well, you know, unfortunately, like I was talking about earlier, that's different around the country, no matter where you are. So you're experiencing the mask at all times. You know, here in the South, it's the state, you have to wear it when you're in public, but if you're in certain counties, you can sit at the bowling table with a drink and not have it on. Or when you're up to bowl, you can pull it down, make your shot, and then you have to pull it back up. So there's all kinds of stuff out there. Having to deal with that's very mundane and difficult is the best word to come up with. So kudos to you for taking steps for that. So maybe you can take some of these programs and make them a little more attractive with a mask.
Right, yeah, that's what we're trying to do. We got with the Groupon. So we are working with Groupon. And like you said, how to use the parking lot. We do a farmer's market, the community farmer's market here every Saturday, which is bringing in sales for food.
Beautiful. And
it brings people in the building, so hopefully they'll bowl, you know, eventually come back and bowl. So we got some of that.
Hats off to you, Jody. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Very nice.
Hey, Steve.
Okay, we have a can we put the recap slide up so that we can remind everybody of the takeaways for today?
I was just going to do that for Mr. Steve because he said I must have joined late. You're right, Steve. You joined late.
Cody, as we are waiting for other questions to come in, you might consider having a mask contest for Halloween. It's kind of a fun thing to do. Since we've got to wear masks, might as well have a little bit of fun with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so here are some takeaways for today. When driving families back to bowling, you need to keep your reputation and your facility sparkling, right? Dottie gave you all kinds of hints about how to do that. Use your calendar to plan things out. Plan, plan, plan. Can't make a plan without a plan, so plan to plan. Think like a mom. Appeal to those moms. Think like a mom would. Is it easy? Is it convenient for me? Can I get in and out? Does it make sense? Perfect. Give them a reason to return. What is that? A bounce back. Use those bounce backs cleverly, carefully, thoughtfully, and deliberately. Use them in all those ways. Generate relationships with your kid-friendly programs, such as Scouts and daycares and other places that have kids that need activities. Make your place the place they think about. Dedicate times and offers for families only. Make sure you've got those set up ahead of time. On Tuesday night, we're doing this. On Sunday afternoon, it's this, and it's family day. And then finally, evaluate your employees and match them to the audience that you're going to host. Simple enough. I'll leave that alone. So those are your takeaways for today. Do we have any, can I move this slide without coming back online? Let's find out. Oh, yes, we can. Any questions out there? Steven said he wanted to, okay, if you need to go back and watch. Yep, Steven, we'll post this later this afternoon on YouTube so you can watch it up. Hey, Steve, how's it going? Anybody else out there have a question for us on kids and families? Anything that you want to, quiz us about or ask us about?
And Jay, kind of thinking back through and planning, we did see that everyone that was viewing today could use a hand with getting the kids and families back in that business
100%.
Over prior year. So I mean, there are some super simple things that you can start right away, but they are going to require planning, as Jay said. So we're here in fall now. We've got Halloween here. We can use some coupons to get those kids back in. Hopefully we've got corporate parties starting to book. Make sure that when you're booking those, that you're putting that in the bid. You're letting them know that you're going to provide every single guest with a reason to come back to your center as saying thank you. So start thinking through what we talked about today and start planning to get those kids back, now. I think that you'll find that some of these things are very, very easy to execute.
Yeah, they mostly are. All right, well, I'm going to take the slide down for now, and we're going to start wrapping this up today. Since we don't have a lot of questions, we're going to keep it short and sweet, and we're going to cut you a little bit early. With no sense in just chatting just to chat, because Lord knows I can do that easily. So I'd like to thank everyone for coming today. Steve, did you have a question before we go? You need to turn your mic on.
And unmute yourself.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
I was going to say, I just sent an email. We are going to start booking bands on Friday nights, put on the lanes facing the bowlers. Try to fight the high school football. Since high school football is going to be limited capacity, we might as well try to get the extra fans in somewhere.
Beautiful.
Very
Great idea.
nice.
Now, Steve is in a little bit of a northeastern suburb of Dallas. He's in Rowlett, and he's got a 26 lane.
26.
26, yep. And a beautiful, beautiful bar, beautiful, beautiful restaurant type facility area. So I've been to his
really
center.
Good looking manager.
Yeah, they still need to work on the management staff appearance, but that's another story. No, he's going to do a good job with that. They have a good room on the concourse right there to face the audience. Good job, Steve. I like that idea a lot.
Thank you.
For those of you that can do
great
something
idea.
similar, yeah, think about how, now that's thinking inside your own box right there, right? So today's takeaways we put on the screen, I want to thank you guys all for attending. I also want to talk about a couple of the upcoming things we've got. Now, tomorrow on Beyond the Frame, Dottie and possibly myself, I'm not sure if we're both going to do it or just Dottie, but we've got Adam Melrose from Bowling Music Network. He's going to be on, and he's going to talk about why music's important in your center, especially for families, right? So Dottie's going to have a great show with him. And then our next webinar is tentatively scheduled for 10/21, October 21st. And that's going to be called 6 Ways to Pump Up Your Bottom Line. I don't know anybody who has a bottom line that doesn't need pumping up, that's for sure. Because you can pump up my bottom line anytime you want. I've got lots of room for extra money there. If you got too much, just send it my way. But we're going to give you 6. There'll be more than 6, let's be honest. We're going to give you the 6 main ones, and there's a lot of other ones that'll help you generate more revenue to that bottom line. So other resources we've got available for you. I'm going to share my screen again because I do want to point out about our, I'm not good at doing that quickly apparently. I do want to point out some of the other things we've got. Our resource page. You've got cubicaamf.com. All of you know about that. Obviously, our worldwide Facebook page. And then our Beyond the Frame group, which is you're probably a member of if you're watching our webinars and stuff. If you're not a member of Beyond the Frame, go to Facebook, type it in, and just hit join. We'll approve you right away. And then our Best Extras blog. Dottie has been sharing a lot of that content. It's normally a private blog. We've kind of opened it up since the pandemic began to allow all bowling centers, whether they're our customer or not, to take advantage of some of these opportunities for improvement and growth and revenue in general. And so if you want to be a member of the blog and get notified when new content's posted, it's really simple. You just send an email to bestextras@cubicaamf.com. The email is right there on the screen. And then finally, If you want to get a hold of Dottie or myself, you can email us directly or just email the email successcoach@cubicaamf.com. We both have access to that and we'll see it. So you've got all the ways to contact us, take advantage of us, and use us any way we can to make your business better. And we hope that you will continue to make bowling amazing by doing so. On behalf of myself, Jay Nephew, Dottie San Martin, and Cubic AMF, we really sincerely appreciate you joining us today. And we look forward to having you again on a future episode.
Have a great afternoon.